So here Jesus stands on the cusp of the final leg of the journey. You know, he's taken that last off-ramp to the final exit, and now it's just a matter of walking the road before him. If you've been through challenging journeys before, you might be able to kind of imagine the feeling of standing in that space of like anticipation. You're not quite there, but you have a sense of what's before you. Maybe it was pulling your car into the parking lot at RUH before a significant appointment. Maybe it was walking up the stairs to a friend's house before a heavy conversation. You know those moments, they're so loaded. They're pregnant with all kinds of weight and significance. And Palm Sunday brings us into that kind of a moment. We're invited into the weight of Holy Week. We are invited into the story as Jesus is making his way to Jerusalem. As we feel the significance of this journey, we're invited to consider, where do we find ourselves in the story? See, there are times when we find ourselves amidst a journey, and there are times when we find ourselves coming alongside others on their journey. And I'm sure you can think of many moments where you were witness to the journey of someone else. I think of what it must have been like for my parents as they dropped me off at Bible college, or what it was like for my family to stand by as Tara and I, we drove and we moved away in our U-Haul to Toronto. I know what it was like for me when we dropped our kids off at camp for the first time. And you know, we come alongside people in all kinds of journeys, right? Challenging and exciting. We bear witness and we play that role of coming alongside. Just recently, many of us had the opportunity to come alongside Allison and celebrate her journey of ordination. I'm sure many of you have fond memories of coming alongside friends at graduations and weddings. But I'm sure that also many of you have memories of coming alongside friends in challenging journeys as well. A few years ago, I remember going to court and then making visits to Kilburn Hall as I was supporting a student who was on a challenging journey with the legal system. Many of us have made the trip to the hospital with a friend for an ominous appointment, or attended funerals as a way of coming alongside our friends in times of pain. What vantage point are you witnessing this journey from? Christ's journey to the cross. And I wonder, is it different than years previous? Has your perspective changed? Has your proximity to Jesus shifted? Do you find yourself leaning in or perhaps fading away? Jesus has made it clear that throughout the story of Luke's gospel, that for his disciples, Christ's journey to the cross must become our journey. We are not invited to stand by idle on the side of the road. We are not invited to chime in with social media comments. We are invited to follow Jesus and embrace his way as our very own. And Jesus made this abundantly clear in Luke chapter 9 when he said, "The Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests and the teachers of the law. And he must be killed, and on the third day be raised to life." Then he said to them all, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me." We are invited to take up the way of self-giving, sacrificial, enemy love. We are invited to take up the way of the cross. We are not meant to observe curiously from the outskirts. Holy Week invites us to come along with Jesus and discover what it means to be his follower. As Soren Kierkegaard says, he came to be the pattern, to leave footprints for the person who would join him, who would become a follower. What's the difference between an admirer and a follower? A follower strives to be what he admires. An admirer, however, keeps himself personally detached. So as we are on the cusp of the journey to the cross, will you enter into the story as an admirer, or will you enter in and follow Jesus? If you've not been engaged in practices for Lent, maybe you could just try an expression for this week. Maybe this week you want to set aside some intentional time for silence or maybe solitude. You could consider making it a small daily practice for the next few days leading up, or just set aside one intentional time for that kind of experience. Those Lenten practices are available on our website, and you'll also notice that we put up a Holy Week playlist, which is available. This playlist features songs that we will sing together as a community on Good Friday and Resurrection Sunday. So maybe this week you could allow the songs of the season to just kind of wash over you. Maybe you could embrace a prayer practice this week that will help you engage in the journey. Our website has all kinds of helpful suggestions. And then finally, could I encourage you to consider spending time this week listening to Christ's journey to the cross from the Gospels? Like, spend time in the Scriptures and allow the story itself to bring you in. And could I just also offer one suggestion to literally listen to it? If you have the Bible app on your phone, you can choose to have the story read aloud to you. And I would encourage you to hear it. Let it speak to you this week.